Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Everything and More. So today I just want to hop right in and let you guys know what we're going to be talking about today. Today we'll be talking about layers. And when I say layers, I am talking about battles and experiences we've gone through that nobody knows about, and things that are burdens to us, hold us down and keep us heavy. And I wanted to jump into this because you have so many people that are living life and basically lying to themselves, saying that they are okay, saying that there is nothing wrong with them, and not dealing with the hurt, the shame, the rejection, the abandonment, all of these things, being bullied or being molested. You're not dealing with these things, and you are creating layers on layers after layers. So to jump right into this, to give you a short little background, I'm going to be using clothes to show you what the layers look like in the flesh, but this is how we feel on the inside. It's an internal thing. It's a battle on the inside that nobody can see. And I just want to try to give clarity where clarity was given to me, and I hope this helps someone, and I want to just jump right in it. So the first layer that I have is abandonment. And many of us go through abandonment as kids. Our dads aren't there, or your mom is not there, but maybe they are there and they're not there for you mentally, but they're there for you physically, and you feel abandoned. And maybe you saw some in your household growing up that caused you to feel like you was overlooked, or nobody saw you, or you felt small. So this is the first layer that I want to put on today. And this is abandonment. So when we put on abandonment, now we're walking around with a layer of feeling like no one sees us. And most of the time it starts in a home. It starts when we are young. And we're walking around with this layer. So now we have this mindset that nobody sees me. And after abandonment comes, we start to feel like everybody is rejecting us. So my next layer will be rejection. So now we already have a layer of abandonment on. And now, because I've experienced something else, because I haven't dealt with my abandonment issues, now I have picked up an issue and a layer of rejection. So I put on rejection on top of abandonment. And now I have two layers. I have the real me that's layered with abandonment, and now it's layered with rejection. So now I'm going through life, and now I'm rejecting people to come into my life because I feel like if I let you in, you're gonna eventually abandon me. You're gonna eventually make me feel like you can't see me, or you're gonna do something that reminds me of my past. And because I ain't dealt with that yet, now I'm gonna shut you out, or shut anybody out that has come to help me. So now that I have put on the layer of rejection, now I'm picking up another layer. And this layer could be shame, it could be guilt, but I'm going to put it as shame. And as I begin to put on all of these layers of clothes, I'm starting to get hot, I'm starting to get heavy, and I'm starting to feel weighed down. But now I have on a layer of shame. I feel ashamed because I don't want to really let anybody in on what I've been through. Because if I expose to you what I've seen, what I've gone through, what I've experienced in my life, I feel like you're going to reject me. And then after you reject me, now the little girl, the little boy in me, I'm back to feeling abandoned. So now I don't even want to invite nobody into my life. So after you have shame on, you find yourself moseying through life, and you may meet someone, and you may feel like you've met somebody that you like, and you let them in, and you let them in partially, and they hurt you. And now you go back to feeling like, I feel guilty because I let you in and I thought you were going to understand me. And I thought if I open up myself to you and I expose myself to you, that you would truly accept me, but you left me. Now you make me feel guilty for opening up. Now I'm ashamed because I opened up to someone I thought that was going to receive me and my experience and my trauma and my wounds. So now I'm just putting on another layer, and this layer is called hurt. Relationship hurt, friendship hurt, work hurt, whatever the hurt may be, this is hurt. So now you put hurt, holy moly donuts, y'all. Now you're putting hurt on top of your shame. So now you have all these layers on and you're feeling heavy, but you still got to figure out, how can I keep a smile on my face? How can I keep moving through life? And I'm so boggled down, but when somebody asks me how am I doing, I'm just smiling. But right now I'm talking to you through my hurt lens. And after you've been hurt, you go and you pick up another layer. I call this layer abuse. You begin to tell yourself you're not good enough. You begin to abuse yourself mentally and say, nobody is going to ever accept me. Nobody is ever going to want to be around me because of my mess. So now you put yourself in a place where you are abusing yourself, and you go and find stuff to try to mend that brokenness. But you got so many layers on you, you really don't know who you are anymore. You don't know who you were created to be. So now you done put on a whole nother layer. Jesus. You put on a whole nother layer on top of a layer of hurt. So now you put on this layer. Jesus, my God. And the layers are getting thick. You've got on the layer of abuse, and I can't even put this on. But now you got the layer of abuse on. You have not only abused yourself, but you've settled for less. You've accepted relationships where you've been abused mentally. You've been abused emotionally. And you've accepted the fact that I'm just going to stay in this stage of abuse. I'm just going to hang on to a little bit. If somebody treats me right, just a little bit. If you treat me right just a little bit, that's enough for me. You can call me out of my name. You can cheat on me. You can leave me, and I'll let you come back, because all I need is just a little bit, because I already feel alone. But because I have mentally abused myself, and I've told myself that this is all that I have, this is all that I'm worth, now you've put on abuse. My last layer. Unworthiness. After we've gone through all of these layers, the layer of abuse, the layer of shame, the layer of hurt, the layer of rejection, the layer of abandonment, now you have, I'm unworthy. And even when God wants to tell you that you are worthy, even when God wants to show you that you are enough, even when God wants to speak to you through people, you shut everybody out. You shut your bishop out. You shut your preacher out. You shut your mentor out. You shut your friends out. And you put on another layer, unworthiness. And my God, I am hot. But I want you to get what I'm saying. So now, I have all these layers on. You don't even see the core of me anymore. You don't even know who you are anymore. And I can go on and on and on, but you get the picture. But now you don't even know who the core of you anymore. Now you're walking around in the flesh and you're telling people I'm okay. You're telling yourself I'm okay. I feel good. I feel fine. But you know you are heavy. You are panicking inside. You are depressed inside. Your anxiety has the best of you. And you're walking around just a lot of clothes on, a lot of layers that you haven't dealt with. And I understand that sometimes we don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes we don't know what to do with it. But it's very important that you find a way to unpack. And in order for us to impact anybody's lives, we have to unpack our mess. So this is what we look like when we have all of these layers of experience. We're lying to ourselves, telling ourselves, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm okay. Your friends ask you, well, how are you doing today? I'm fine, but you know your heart racing. You know that there is something pulling on you. You know that there is something that got you heavy. You depressed, you eating a lot, you gaining weight. You isolating yourself because of the layers. The layers are holding you down. The layers have you heavy. Oh my God. The layers. Then you go and have a kid. You have a kid and you feel like, I'm not worthy. How am I going to raise this kid? But the kid comes. Sometimes kids come in our life so we can unpack, so we can find the root of who we really are. And I want you to understand that you cannot have a successful relationship with God, with your peers, with your family, with your friends, with your spouse, until you are willing to unpack every layer of everything you've ever gone through in your life. And this is so important because many times we are dealing with people, we are around people, people are in our lives, we are in their lives, and we're not understanding why one minute people are up and the next minute they are down. One minute you're smiling, the next minute you got a frown on your face. One minute you love me, the next minute you telling me you don't need me. And we're not understanding that people are only speaking from layers. What layer are you speaking on? What layer are you speaking from? And it's so important that you unpack these layers, or you will never reach that peak. And sometimes we may get out of one layer and then we still got this other layer that we haven't dealt with. And when you have the layer of unworthiness, and unworthiness is on top of your pain, and you take off the layer of unworthiness, and somebody hurts you again, you put the layer back on. But if you really took some time, sometimes when we go through things, we have to deal with the ugly. We have to deal with people who hurt us, and we have to deal with the fact that we've hurt ourselves and that we've allowed ourselves to go through these things. And in the process hurts. But as you begin to unlayer, for me, prayer, seeking God, it helped me. Sometimes you got to get around people that believe in the same thing as you. Sometimes you got to get around people that's going to tell you the truth. Yes, it's going to hurt, but if you say, God, I trust you, and I want you to reveal the inner things that are not good for me, the things that are holding me back, help me deal with my past, help me deal with my frustrations, help me deal with my trauma, help me deal with the rejection, help me deal with the abandonment, help me deal with the miscarriage, help me deal with the lies I've told myself, help me deal with the lies that people have said to me that I've accepted, help me to deal with my abandonment, help me to deal with my mama wasn't there, or my mama was a drug addict, or my dad was a drug addict. Help me to deal with my dad rejected me, abandoned me at a baby when I was little. Help me deal with it. And as you begin to take off the layers, this layer comes off. The layer of I'm not worthy. The layer of I've been hurt. You take it off. And you begin to feel light. You start to feel light. The layer of shame. You take it off. I'm no longer ashamed of what I've gone through. I'm no longer ashamed of my indifferences looking different from people. I'm no longer ashamed that I had to drop out of school because I got pregnant. I'm no longer ashamed of me having a baby and I'm not with the person anymore, having the baby and having to do it alone. I'm no longer ashamed of the things that I've gone through. I'm no longer ashamed of saying, for God I live and for God I die. I'm no longer ashamed of any of that. So after you take off the layer of shame, it begins to feel light. So now you take off another layer and you're starting to feel lighter. Now you're starting to see who God really called you to be. Now you're beginning to see who you truly are. You're beginning to see the beauty. Your countenance is changing. The way you look is changing. You start to feel light. You stop lying to yourself and saying that you're okay. Your finances may not be right, but you stop living in a place where you're not worthy. You take off the layer of unworthiness. And then you get to the real roots. The roots that have had you bound. The roots that have had you making bad decisions because of something that happened in your past. The roots that have kept you shackled in relationships, shackled in your mind. Those type of things. When you get to rejection and you can take off the layer of rejection and you deal with it. I was rejected because it was necessary. Because I know because of my rejection that I had to go through my rejection, because my rejection is what made me strong. My rejection was my testimony. My rejection is what made me see clearer. But sometimes you got to go through the trenches. And sometimes you got to fight. And sometimes you got to go through people misunderstanding you. But in the end, if you allow God to deal with those layers, to get to that root and to unpluck it, God can plant what it was that he wanted to plant it long time ago and build up everything around you that was supposed to be around you. Now we're dealing with big bad abandonment, and this one is not gonna want to let you go. And you on a journey of deliverance. You on a journey of becoming the best person that you can be. You're on a journey of identifying who you truly are. And because you're on this journey, this abandonment, it's gonna start to feel tight. It's gonna start to feel like it's closing in on you, because the lighter you get and the more you identify who you are and what God has called you to be and who he's called you to be and what he's called you to do, abandonment gonna try to come in every angle. You know, you're gonna find yourself starting to feel like, oh my God, I feel too light. This is too good to be true. And that ain't nothing but that abandonment speaking to you. It's too good to be true. I'm finding out who I am. You know, God is giving me boldness to step out into who I really have been called to be. He's making me see things. My countenance is changing. But oh my God, I'm starting to see the core of me. I'm starting to see what everything was layered on top of my heart. I'm starting to think clearly. I'm starting to act more wiser. I'm starting to do things with better understanding. And when you take off that layer of abandonment and you say, I'm not gonna live there no more. I'm not gonna let that keep me in a place of bondage no more. I'm not gonna let that make me make bad decisions. I'm not gonna let abandonment have me in relationships, abusive relationships, mental, toxic relationships. Staying in stuff because you feel like that's all you deserve. That's that abandonment. But when God takes off the abandonment, okay, but when you allow God to take off the abandonments and you allow God to strip you to who you really are, and you come before God naked and unashamed. Jesus. This is what life is supposed to be like. Life is supposed to be like us, light as a feather. Going through life. Yeah, you make mistakes. Yeah, you went through what you went through. Yeah, you had a miscarriage. But just because you had a miscarriage, that don't mean you abandon who God called you to be. You don't abandon your purpose. You don't abandon your ministry. You don't abandon the business, the gifts, the talents that God has given you. You don't abandon the wisdom, the understanding that he wants to give you. God, you know, guys, I have a kid and I love her to death. And even when I still got to do the videos, you don't allow abandonment to come in when you feel like you can't do what you have to do because you have more stuff on your plate. You don't abandon what God has called you to do. You don't abandon your assignments wherever God has you. Deal with those layers that keep you in a place where you're heavy. Those layers that keep you lying to yourself, lying to the people that love you, lying to your peers, lying to the people that God has sent into your life, not only to save you, but not only to give you clarity, but God wants you to have healthy relationships. And I know we all go through things that hurt us. And sometimes we don't want to deal with it, and I understand that. But it's going to have to come a point in your life where you have to take off the layers, and you're going to have to get naked before God, before somebody, in order for you to be the best woman or man that you've been called to be. And I just wanted to get on here and I wanted to encourage you. Whatever you do, take off the layers. Become free. Be who God has called you to be. Because if you don't take off the layers, and if you don't deal with that guilt, that shame, that rejection, that abandonment, the lies that have been told to you, if you don't deal with that, you will become a replica. You'll be mad at people that's flourishing in what God called them to do. And you'll feel like it's something wrong with you, but no, it's nothing wrong with you. You just have to deal with your abandonment. You have to deal with your issues. You have to deal, hey, stop it, okay? You have to deal with your abandonment, your rejection, all of that. You have to deal with it. And you have to take authority over it. And you have to be in a place where you take accountability. See, when you begin to take off those layers, you begin to take accountability. Yeah, I made that decision, but even though I made that decision, that does not mean that I'm a bad person. Don't let your decisions be in a relationship with your guilt, and then with your guilt, now you're sitting in shame. You're not opening up to nobody. You're not allowing nobody in because you have so many layers. But if you would take the time to take off those layers, and you would take the time to deal with your wounds, God will show you what you was intended to do all along. And I just wanted to encourage someone. I hope this blessed someone. And my channel is not only for hair, makeup, fashion, shoes, ha ha, he he, but it's also for times to talking about the real, talking about the things that we need to deal with, the underlying issues, things that nobody can see. People are having heart attacks. People are having health issues, health scares. They're having all of that. And really, it's underlying issues. And let me tell you one thing as well. Don't let separation anxiety put you in a place. Y'all, you guys forgive me. My daughter, she has to be in the video. But don't let separation anxiety keep you in a place where you allow the layers to stay. Separating from what's comfortable to walk into the unfamiliar is really scary sometimes. But you have to continue to tell yourself that God did not give me the spirit of fear. He gave me the spirit of love, hope, and a sound mind. And anytime your mind is not sound, anytime you're not walking in love, and anytime you're walking in fear and not power, you know that there is something that you need to deal with. So don't allow separation anxiety to keep you in a place where you don't want to separate from that abandonment, because it has kept you in a place where you don't have to deal with your mess. And now you don't want to separate from rejection because it keeps you in a place where I don't have to open up. I don't have to open up to anyone. So whatever you do, make sure you deal with those layers and make sure you continue to be who God has called you to be. And this is Talk Time with Jasmine and Everything and More. And I hope that you have a great day. I will try to get on here as often as I can to give a word, but I only give a word that has been given to me first, that has dealt with me first. So I just pray that this blesses someone. Share, subscribe, share, tag a friend, let them know. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing and wanting to be a part of my journey and my next thing that I'm going to do. I am new to this, but I am believing, God to just move in people's lives in an authentic way. And I hope you guys have a good day. And I hope this blesses someone. Bye.